Welcome back everyone, Scotty Combat here, and today I want to talk to you about Ghostface coming to Mortal Kombat 1. Many months ago, a lot of characters were data mined, and from now and since then, there are some leakers that have been 100% correct along the way, and that's including Janet Cage. However, while most of this information has stayed the same since it's been data mined and it's came true, there has been some changes as far as what leakers are saying with Ghostface. The biggest thing is that, yes, leakers are saying he's still going to be in the game, but the biggest thing is, it's still unclear whether he's going to be in Kombat Pack 2 or if he's going to come alongside with the content patch. It seems one of the biggest things regarding his release is whether he's going to have one of the original voice actors' voice or if they're going to have to get someone different. And the recordings already could be done, we just don't know who's done them yet. But I did want to drive that home now that yes, it is looking like he's still going to be in the game. And with the content patch, it's been rumored that it would be 3 characters released, which would be Noob Saibot, Sector, and Cyrax. It is possible that Ghostface could be one of those slots. It seems like for sure Noob Saibot will be in the content patch, where Sector and Cyrax are more iffy, and there's heavy details attributing to them being in the game. But we will circle back to that. It seems that some fans are complaining of Ghostface being in the game initially just because he's a human with a knife. And to be fair-minded, I try to see it from everyone's perspective, and I do get that. But it makes me also consider other guest characters like Leatherface. He's also just a human too. Now I do know that's the difference between a chainsaw and a knife, and that is a big difference. But it still comes down to being basic humans. I mean, technically, for that matter, you could even throw Stryker in the mix, although he does have a gun. Nonetheless, with that being said, I guess where I'm getting at with this is I think he would be a great fit in Mortal Kombat 1, and I'm excited to see him. I think Ghostface fits Mortal Kombat very well. And as a fan of Mortal Kombat, I'm happy for those that were excited with the first Kombat Pack with the guest characters we've got. But as a fan of horror, I'm very excited to get a horror guest character back in Kombat Pack 2. Just in case you haven't seen it, I'm going to share some of Omni-Man's intro dialogue with Ghostface, that way you get an obvious idea. Here's 5 lines from Omni-Man. Don't get much oxygen in that mask, do you? What's your plan, trick-or-treating? I'm not here to play some stupid game. Movies. Nothing beats a good book. Takes more than a mask and a knife to scare me. I mean, really, that is pretty solid that it's Ghostface. I thought for a second it might be Michael Myers, but when you compare the game, movies, trick-or-treating, I think it all attributes to him. If anyone does have a theory besides Ghostface based off of those references, I'm definitely open to hearing it. I just find it pretty hard to beat that. I really don't see Mortal Kombat letting go of guest characters now. It makes too much sense for them and other IPs they involve. It benefits both parties. Mortal Kombat gets more notoriety for bringing in fans of the character that's being introduced in the game, and the character being introduced also gets notoriety for their own IP as well. Which brings me to my next point. Mortal Kombat 9 didn't have a lot of guest characters, but it did bring Freddy Krueger. Mortal Kombat X had a lot more horror characters. Mortal Kombat 11 introduced action characters. And then MK1 introduced more of your anti-hero, satirical hero, like mock superheroes. And seeing horror characters being reintroduced to the game is a good feeling for me because I think horror characters is the best genre you can really go with when you're blending other IPs with Mortal Kombat. Now this may sound wild to some, but I think anime is a genre that would be amazing for them to tap into and that they could definitely make possible in this game. If they can make a cartoon like Omni-Man a character in the game, which by the way, Omni-Man looks fantastic in Mortal Kombat 1. The detail in the character looks so good, it's very convincing. Then I would say for sure anime characters could show up in Mortal Kombat as well. I'm not saying make Mortal Kombat an overhaul of anime character guests, but they should try a few. Because the next horror character we're looking at is Chucky, and Michael Myers is still out there too. But before too long, we'll be running out of horror guests. And I only mean that in a crossover IP sense, looking from the NRS perspective. Of course, if we went down the rabbit hole of horror movies, there's so many to pick from. But if we're looking at iconic figures or what's popular and what makes sense for 2 IPs to cross over with each other to benefit each other, I think the well's going to run dry pretty soon for Mortal Kombat and horror. And it wouldn't surprise me if horror guest characters is something that returns. Now, coming back to Ghostface, he's supposed to be the 6th downloadable character coming back after the first Kombat Pack releases. Now there is that small chance he could be a part of the content patch as a guest character in addition. There was a lot of updating with Ermac, and that seemed to have turned out really well. However, changing the release date I don't think is something that's going to be that significant. There has been some talk between other people as far as there may be some difficulties with the new Scream movie right now in production, and when they should release Ghostface is kind of up in the air. But that in itself isn't a concrete answer that anyone has. So me personally, I think the order would still be the same. But again, if we're going to go back and look at the original lineup of what's been data mined, then he will be coming out after the content patch. And I do want to show a previous poll real quick when I asked you guys which kind of guest characters you prefer, and the majority of you chose horror characters. Again, that's the direction I think it should go, and it's okay to disagree with that. I think in the future, not all guest characters are going to be horror characters. I just see horror characters being a part of this game for a while. I don't mean just Mortal Kombat 1, but titles going into the future as well. And I really can't think of any heavy criticisms for Ghostface being a part of this game. In fact, in comparison, I would rather see Ghostface than some of the other guests that we've got. I think we can see some really interesting fatalities and brutalities coming from Ghostface. I had also seen in the comments maybe there could be some goofy finishers where when he pulls his mask off, it's a character from the roster, so it could change up any time. I had also posted some cameo horror characters that I think could have been choices. Besides those characters, I think we have Michael Myers, Pinhead, Chucky, and then I was just throwing smaller characters out there for fun, like Megan, Samara from The Ring. I know this wasn't in the poll, but even like the girl from The Exorcist. All in all, I would choose Mortal Kombat characters over guest characters any day for DLC. However, I get why they do it, and some of it is really cool, but I feel like it's starting to wear off, at least for me anyway. I don't know how you guys feel about it. That's something I am going to ask in the poll tonight. Well, by the time this is uploaded, the poll will already be out. But would you guys rather have an all-exclusive MK cast when it comes to guest characters, or do you like guest characters that are mixed in with Mortal Kombat characters as DLC? I think it'd be okay to have them here and there, but not half and half, and especially with every Kombat Pack. What do you guys think of Ghostface and horror characters, or guests in general? Let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. It also helps the channel to keep running. Also, if you're new or familiar with the channel, subscribe if you want to see more. If you want to know when a new video drops, hit the bell icon.